The following tutorial, presented by North Park University's Office of International Affairs, will provide information about and detailed instructions on how to apply for optional practical training. We begin by addressing some commonly asked questions about OPT. What is OPT? Optional practical training is temporary employment that is directly related to your academic major and enables you to gain practical experience in your field of study. F1 students studying at a college, university, conservatory, or seminary may qualify for optional practical training, commonly referred to as OPT. Eligible students can apply to receive up to 12 months of OPT employment authorization before or after completing their academic program. This presentation addresses post-completion OPT. What kind of employment are you allowed to pursue while on OPT? Any work you do must be related to your academic major. You cannot work in your minor. Do I have to have a job to apply for OPT? You do not need to have a job at the time of application, nor do you need to have a job by your OPT start date. How long is OPT? Standard post-completion OPT can be authorized for a maximum of 12 months or 365 days. You may obtain permission to work in the U.S. for up to 12 months per degree level. Students majoring in STEM-eligible fields, science, technology, engineering, or math, may apply for a one-time 24-month extension of post-completion OPT. How do you know if you're eligible for OPT? If you have completed one academic year, 2 semesters, in F1 status, and have continued to maintain valid F1 status, you are eligible for OPT. However, if you have completed 1 year or more of full-time CPT during your degree program, you are not eligible for OPT. Part-time CPT has no bearing on OPT eligibility. There are several time frames to keep in mind as you consider applying for OPT. These are the application time frame or window, that is, when you can submit your application. Your employment start date, or the period or window of time in which you must begin OPT. Your approval wait time, or how long it will take before you are approved for OPT. And finally, the number of unemployment days you are allowed while on OPT. Application window. You can apply up to 90 days before and up to 60 days after the program end date on your I-20. Employment start date. You must select a start date 1 to 60 days after the program end date on your I-20. Approval wait time. Current wait times are between 3.5 to 5 months. Unemployment days. Over the course of 12 months of standard post-completion OPT, you are permitted 90 days of unemployment. How do I apply for OPT? Your application for OPT must take place in cooperation with OIA. You will need a new I-20 from the DSO showing that OPT authorization has been requested in SEVIS. You must apply for OPT with USCIS. Receipt of OPT is not guaranteed. There are 3 basic steps to North Park's OPT application process. The first step is to attend an in-person OPT workshop. Workshops are offered at the beginning of the semester. You will receive an email at the start of your last semester of study inviting you to sign up for a workshop. If possible, review the OPT application instruction packet provided on the website prior to the workshop. The instruction packet is found on the International Student Support page. The second step is to gather your OPT-related documentation in preparation for your appointment, at which time the DSO will review your paperwork and answer any questions you have about the application. If you haven't already selected a start date, we can discuss it at that time. The third step is to schedule an appointment with OIA. After your application has been reviewed and you are issued a new I-20, you may proceed to the final step, which is mailing your application to USCIS. Although you have 30 days from the date indicated on your new I-20 to submit your application, We strongly encourage you to mail in your application immediately following or within 1 to 2 days of your appointment. OIA is located on the first floor of the Johnson Center in the Center for Student Engagement. You may schedule an appointment with either Sumi Song or Tessa Zanoni. Your OPT application consists of the following documents: a printout of your I-94 admission number, Form I-765, Application for Employment Authorization, Form G-1145, E-Notification of Application or Petition Acceptance, photocopies of your valid passport, your F-1 visa or Notice of Approval of Change of Status if applicable, all previous Forms I-20, and your most recent EAD card if applicable, a record of all previous periods of curricular practical training provided for you by OIA, 2 passport-size photos, an application fee of $410, a new Form I-20 prepared by OIA, your OPT acknowledgement form, and a copy of your graduation audit. Gather the required documentation. OIA recommends you begin with your I-94 admission number. Each time you enter the U.S., you are issued an admission number, which is stored electronically. You can find your I-94 admission number by entering your personal and travel information on the U.S. Customs and Border Protection site at the above address. Print out your I-94 number. If any errors appear on your I-94, they must be corrected before you can proceed with your OPT application. You can try I-94 email correction at this email. You can also appear in person at the Chicago Deferred Inspections Office located at 536 South Clark Street, Suite 1035. The main office can be reached at 312-542-4910. Download and complete Form I-765. The form can be filled out online or neatly using black ink. Answer all questions fully and accurately. Print and complete all pages 1 through 7. If any pages are missing, your application may be rejected. What follows are step-by-step instructions on completing Form I-765. If you have any questions about any parts of the form, leave them blank for now, and we will address them at your appointment. Leave the top portion of the form blank. Part 2, item number 1A to 1C, your full legal name. Write your family name in capital letters. Use upper and lowercase for the first name. Please write your name exactly as it appears in the surname, family name, and given name fields on your I-20. Note that your I-20 does not use the middle name field. Item number 2A to 4C, other names used. Enter your previous names, including nicknames you have used in official records or documentation. If your I-20 preferred name is different than the name written in number 1, include that here. If the answer is none, write N/A. Part 2, U.S. mailing address. This is the address where you want your receipt notice and the EAD card to be mailed. The address should be valid for at least 3 to 5 months, the length of time it will take to process your application. If you have plans to move during this time, use a reliable friend or family member's address to receive the EAD. Indicate this in number 5A. If the mailing address belongs to someone other than yourself, put their full name, first name, last name here. If this is your address, write N/A. If you do not know where you'll be living, you may list the Office of International Affairs as your mailing address. Leave this portion of the form blank for now, and the DSO will fill it out at the time of your OPT appointment. For item number 5B to 5E, write a valid mailing address in the U.S. It may be a residence, commercial address, or P.O. box. Item number 6. If the mailing address you indicated is not where you currently reside, check No and enter your current physical address in items 7A to 7E. If yes, write N/A. Your physical address reflects where you actually reside. Part 2, Other Information. Item number 8. F1 students do not have an A number. Leave this blank. Item number 9. F1 students do not have a USCIS online account number. Leave this blank as well. Please complete items number 10 and 11. Item number 12. Check no if you have never applied for an EAD. Check yes if you have previously applied for an EAD. You will need to provide copies of any previous EADs. Note: this question does not apply to previous on-campus employment or CPT. Part 2, items 13A to 17B, Social Security number. Item 13A. Check yes if you have been issued a Social Security number and enter your SSN with one letter in each box. Item 13B. Check no if you do not yet have a Social Security number. Item number 14. Check yes if you want a new or replacement SSN card and complete items 15 to 17B. Check no if you do not want to receive a new or replacement SSN card. Part 2. Countries of citizenship and place of birth. Item number 18. List all countries where you are a citizen or national. If you need additional space, use Part 6 of the I-765. Write N/A in 18B if you do not have other citizenships. Items number 19 to 20. Place of birth. List the name of the country as it was called when you were born, even if its name is changed. Make sure your date of birth is in the correct format: month, day, and year. Part 2, Last Arrival in the U.S. Item number 21A, Form I-94. Use your current I-94 admission number. This is the number found on your electronic I-94 record. Note that I-94 numbers issued prior to May 2019 are 11 characters long and contain only numbers. After May 2019, I-94 numbers follow an alphanumeric format with 9 numbers followed by a letter, followed by another number. Item number 21B to E, Passport information. Enter this information directly from your passport, which should match the country on your I-20. In cases where you entered the U.S. on a passport that is now expired, enter the number of your renewed passport. You will provide information on the expired passport on page 7. Item number 21C, Travel document. Write none here. Item number 22, Date of last entry into the U.S. Your most recent entry date can be found on your passport admission stamp or electronic I-94 record. Item number 23, Place of last arrival into the U.S. Enter the name of the port of entry city from your most recent entry. Item number 24, Immigration status at last entry or status in which you entered the U.S. If you entered with an I-20 as a student, write F1 student. Item number 25, Current immigration status. Your current status should be F1 student. The status should be indicated on your current I-94. Item number 26, CVIS number. Enter your CVIS number, which appears in the top left corner of your I-20. Item number 27, Eligibility category. Write C3B in the fields provided. Items number 28 to 31B, Other eligibility categories. Write N/A not applicable in these fields. These questions are not applicable to applying for your 12-month post-completion OPT. Number 28 is for STEM OPT extension applicants only. Remember that you are applying now for your 12-month post-completion OPT and not the STEM OPT extension. Later, if you apply to extend your OPT through the STEM OPT extension, you will use the C3C code and answer these questions. Part 3, Applicant Statement. Item number 1A. Select 1A to indicate that you have read and understood the questions. Items number 3 to 6. Provide your information as requested. Part 3, Applicant's Declaration and Certification. Read this section carefully. In number 7A to 7B, sign your name by hand and enter the date. Digital signatures are not acceptable. Your signature will be electronically scanned. so take care to ensure your signature fits inside the box without touching any borders. See the example provided. Parts 4 and 5. The following sections do not apply to you since you have completed the form yourself, so write N/A. This section is for those who use an interpreter or other paid preparer to complete the form. Page 7, Part 6 should be completed only if you have ever been authorized for CPT or OPT or STEM OPT extension, most recently entered the U.S. on a passport that is no longer valid, and you now have a renewed passport, or previously had other SEVIS IDs. If none of these applies to you, leave page 7, Part 6 blank, but you must include it in your application. You have completed the I-765. How to complete page 7, Part 6 if you have ever been authorized for CPT, OPT, or STEM OPT. Items number 1A to 1C. Provide your name again as listed in Part 2, 1A to 1C. Item number 2. Leave this blank. Items number 3A to 3C. Reference page 2, Part 2, Item 12. If you have already used sections 3A to 3D, use the next available section, 4A to D, etc. Item number 3D. If you have had previous CPTs and/or OPTs, write See attached documentation for previous CPT and/or OPT authorizations, and include copies of all previous CPT and OPT I-20s and EAD cards with your application. How to complete page 7, Part 6 if you most recently entered the U.S. on a passport that is no longer valid, and you now have a renewed passport. Items number 1A to 1C. Provide your name again as listed in Part 2, 1A to 1C. Item number 2. Leave this blank. Item number 3A to 3C. Reference page 3, Part 2, Item 21D. Item number 3D. Write an explanation clarifying that you have two passports, one that you use for entry but is no longer valid, and one that is currently valid. Item number 3D. Include copies of both passports and your I-94 with your application. How to complete page 7, Part 6 if you have previously had other SEVIS IDs. Items number 1A to 1C. Provide your name again as listed in Part 2, 1A to 1C. Item number 2. Leave this blank. Items number 3A to 3C. Reference page 3, Part 2, Item 26. If you already use sections 3A to 3D, use the next available section, 4A to D, etc. Item number 3D. List all previously used SEVIS numbers, including from all previous F1 or F2 or J1 or J2 programs in the U.S., including high school, short stays, language training schools, community colleges, or previous I-20s. If you completed any part of page 7, Part 6, you must provide your signature and the date in the field at the bottom of page 7. Make sure to review all the information on the form for accuracy. You must submit all 7 pages of the I-765. Make a copy of your completed I-765 application to keep for your records. Collect the following documents. Download and complete Form G-1145. Filling out Form G-1145 ensures that you will receive an email or text once your application is received by USCIS. Make copies of your passport biographic page, your visa, and any authorizations of change of status. Make copies of all previous I-20s and your most recent EAD card if applicable. Make sure you hold on to any and all original endorsed I-20s. OIA will provide you with a record of previous CPTs. You must submit 2 passport photos along with your application. They must be taken within 30 days of filing your application and must meet the specifications of U.S.-style passport photos. On the back of each photo, lightly print your name and your I-94 admission number with a pencil or felt tip pen. An application fee of $410. Payment in the form of a personal check is preferred, but you can use a bank check or money order if necessary. Make the check payable to U.S. Department of Homeland Security. Take special care to write U.S. Department of Homeland Security exactly as it appears above. In the memo line, write OPT and your CVIS number. Money orders can be purchased at banks, the post office, currency exchanges, and some grocery stores. You will receive a new I-20 at the time of your OPT meeting. You must complete the OPT acknowledgement form found at the back of your OPT information packet. If you've not yet selected your OPT start date, we will discuss this during your appointment. Please note that this form is for North Park's use only and will not be included in your OPT application. Provide a copy of your graduation audit, which was emailed to you by the Records Office. Your graduation audit will not be included in your application. You must file your OPT application within 30 days of the date indicated on your OPT I-20. Allow extra days for shipping so your application is received on time. You are not permitted to leave the U.S. during your grace period until after you have submitted your OPT application and you have received the receipt. If you leave the U.S. after you graduate, but before you apply for OPT, you forfeit your eligibility for OPT. After you apply for OPT, approximately 2 to 3 weeks after submitting your application, you will receive a receipt from USCIS, Form I-797C, confirming that they have received your application. This is not an approval. If you do not receive the receipt, contact USCIS directly. The I-797C is necessary if you want to inquire about the status of your OPT application. Your receipt number, the USCIS case number for your OPT application, appears at the top. Expect the OPT adjudication process to take 4 to 5 months. You may track the status of your case online by entering your I-797C receipt number at the address listed. If your application is approved, you will be sent an employment authorization document containing your photo and the start and end dates of eligible employment. Please email OIA a copy of the front and back of your card. You may start work once you have received the EAD card and your start date has been reached or passed. Traveling before OPT is approved is strongly discouraged. Remember that if you depart the U.S. after you complete your program but before you apply for OPT, you cannot apply for OPT. If you absolutely must travel while awaiting OPT approval, you must travel with your I-797C. Please speak with OIA beforehand. Re-entry is never a guarantee. For questions about traveling during OPT, please see the video on your responsibilities during OPT. We would like to express our thanks to the Berkeley International Office at University of California at Berkeley for granting permission to use and adapt their OPT instructional materials.